As we welcome to the desk, good friend of ours, Chance Patrick is here. You've seen him here before as we talk about Iowa's great outdoors, but we brought him back here especially today to talk about something near and dear to his heart and to a lot of near and dear to a lot of hearts, talking about Easter Lake. And when we first start discussing what's happening to Easter Lake here in Des Moines, Jason, it's going to blow your mind when you hear what they're doing to this incredible facility. Now, we're renovating it is one of the words that get tossed around. Chance, tell us about that. Tell us what this means.
Well, when you're talking about renovation, there's a huge bay of water that's filled up with siltation. So now we need to go in and clear that out and bring our water quality back. Easter Lake is great for fishing, but it's getting worse as we go on. Don't tell nobody the walleyes are great out there. The walleyes are great. But to make that a better spot for our next generation, it needs some work.
And how long is this project going to take?
Well, that's what Mr. Lauren Lowndes going to tell us today. It's going to take some time, but it's worth it if people are just patient.
Lauren Lowndes from the Polk County Conservation is here. How long of a project is this?
Do we go from, I came here in 1990 and we were talking about cleaning up Easter Lake.
Really?
Yes, and it was a long haul to get to where we are right now, to get the kind of partnership put together. And what I say, it's got a lot of problems, but it's got a lot of partners and a lot of opportunities.
So what we're doing to Easter Lake, to make a long story short, is you're draining Easter Lake.
Well, yeah, we will.
You're draining the lake.
We'll take all the water out of it.
You're taking all the water out. You pull the big cork on the bottom of Easter Lake. You're pulling the cork out and letting the water out.
You got to empty the tub to clean it, right?
Well, we're actually going to clean it before we empty it.
Gotcha.
We're going to dredge it, and the dredging is set to bid this fall, to be done next year. And how long it takes is how fast the dredgers can work. Yeah. We're talking about taking over 500,000 cubic yards of silt out of the lake.
And what kind of ballpark time are we looking at, time frame we looking here? Are we looking at weeks, months, years, how long?
By the time we get the water back in it and the fishery started again, a couple of years.
Couple-year project.
It'll take a year to dredge it and then start to drain it. And then after we drain it, we will go into the lake basin itself, rebuild the shorelines so the erosion can be controlled.
Will you take big rocks and just throw them in there? Or?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Rip-rap, things like that. We need to build fish structures and on what will be underwater. We'll be building a causeway across the western side of the lake to work as a silt basin to catch future erosion. There'll be a bike trail put across that.
Now tell Jason about the bike trail, because this is pretty exciting.
The Mark C. Ackelson Trail, named after Mark Ackelson, who did such wonderful work at the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation. He retired, and a fitting honor was that we name a fine bike trail after him. There are 3 phases. 2 are already done. One on the south side of the lake that incorporates the old covered bridge. One on the north side that goes all the way from Indianola Road by the dog park over to Easter Lake Dam. Those are done, and they're open to the public. Our 3rd phase, when the water gets drawn down and we're able to get across the lake on the west and across the face of the dam, the largest phase will be built in 2017. We'll drain the lake in 2016, do in-lake structure and work on the trail in 2017. Hopefully put the plug back in the lake and fill it back up in the end of 2017.
And how do you fill this thing back up?
Close gate.
Close the gate and she'll fill up.
You've got Yater Creek and another unnamed creek to the south that flow a good deal of water into that lake. I've forgotten the actual acreage of the watershed, but it's large. Goes all the way to Des Moines Airport, and it goes south to.
Okay, so it's quite a bit then. So
yeah.
It shouldn't take too long then.
We hope that when we fill it up, we'll be filling it up with clean water.
Right.
Part of the lake program is, by the time, I mentioned we have a lot of partners. By the time Des Moines and the DNR and Polk County Conservation all work on fixing the erosion problems that are out there now, and we close the gates, we hope to eliminate at least 25% of the nutrients and 50% of the sediment that's going into the lake currently.
That's a lot.
So this is part of a bigger conversation then, really.
We're talking $30 million project by the time everyone chips in, everything gets done.
So is it feasible to build a lake the size of Easter Lake now? Just to dig a hole, build what we already have?
If you look at the complex we have with Ewing Park and Easter Lake and the associated public lands, that's about 1,000 acres of public land with a 200+ acre lake on top of it. That's beyond the budgets of almost any agency right now, especially in an urban situation. The land is not available. You couldn't find 1,000 acres of land in the metro area to buy for a park.
Okay, now let's talk about something else. That you're draining the lake, you're taking the water out of the lake. There's some inhabitants of that lake. What happens to all them? Do they just perish, or are they harvested? What's the deal there?
The DNR fisheries folks are working with us closely on this, and they will probably harvest a number of the game fish. We'll go through a period where they allow what the DNR calls promiscuous fishing. Which means you're able to go in and catch as many fish out of there as possible before it's drained. And then when we drain it, a good many of those fish will perish, but a good many of those fish are carp and shad and rough fish. And then after they will go in and they will kill all the carp, minnows, and things in the streams, and then when they fill it back up, they'll stock it with game fish.
And how long will it be before we can fish again in Eastern Lake?
What, chance 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah, it just, water quality is huge on it. I've personally seen one of the ponds done, and the water's crystal clear and the fish are growing quick. You think about it, they got to be able to see what they're eating.
Right.
So to get out there, if they have crystal clear water, what are they going to do? They're going to eat. So they're going to grow really quick. So it's going to be a long project, but it's worth it. And if people just stay patient, they're going to have an awesome.
So you have job security for a couple of years then, don't you, my friend?
I hope so.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, what an undertaking.
It's beautiful out there, and it's they see a lot of guests every day out there. It's always busy.
And speaking for someone who I live in Western Urbandale, and I get out there rarely, and I had forgotten what a nice area that is. I mean, I don't know if it's utilized to the extent that it could be.
We get over 400,000 visits per year.
Wow.
I mean,
And it's going to increase after this is done too. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in and giving us a scoop on this. And as the project continues on, might have you come back in and give us an update.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I might remind all your viewers that Easter Lake is not shutting down. The things that draw people, the covered bridge, the playgrounds, everything will be open, except the water will be a little different.
Okay. So are you still going to be able to fish on there? One last question here.
Well, you can fish right up to the point where we drain the water out of it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.